Hello, my name is Milo Gittings and this is my fashion forensics analysis. Before getting to the data, I want to clarify that my wardrobe in Los Angeles was curated specifically for my favorite and most used pieces from my home in Chicago, as well as pieces that I've bought since I've been here. In our world, the fashion industry has shifted to meet the growing demand of consumerism spread by social media and ever-changing trends. According to UNC Chapel Hill, Ethics and Policy, garment production has doubled globally since 2000. The average consumer is buying 60% more clothing than they did 17 years ago, while keeping their clothing for half as long as they did before 2000. As I analyzed my wardrobe, I realized the extent to which it consisted of clothes that I have thrifted. Therefore, in my first piece of data, I analyzed the proportion of thrifted goods to retail items in my closet, and it yields around 50% of my wardrobe being thrifted, which is consistent throughout my pants, shirts, and sweaters, as well as overall garments. However, in talking about consumer habits with thrifting, I also found that while I've been thrifting for over 4 years, 45.5% of my thrifted goods were purchased in the last 3 months of being in Los Angeles. This large majority can be partially attributed to the strong thrifting and thriving flea market culture of LA that I completely dove into, shifting my style to a more vintage or retro style aesthetic, as you can see here. However, alternatively, this can be a trend I should monitor to manage my spending and prevent overconsumption based off impulse. However, overall, thrifting as a whole clearly means a lot to me. Growing up in a very frugal household, I was always taught the importance of spending money wisely and only got a few garments per year. Carrying these values on today, I picked up on thrifting so strongly, partially due to the fact that I could get more clothing for less, but also because it separates me from the fast fashion consumption with lower quality, less unique items. These values are also seen in my consumer habits on where I get the clothes, where only 4.4% were bought online. To me, in such a digitized world, that is a way for me to separate myself from the impulsive purchases that I know that I'm susceptible to, and overall, I believe that experiencing buying these clothes in person can contribute to a better connection with the process of manufacturing, for you're not consuming through a screen, more mindlessly contributing to the system of fast fashion and its labor and environmental implications. Other than thrifting, the brand you'll see me most regularly in is Uniqlo, making up around 20% of my wardrobe and around 35% of my non-thrifted apparel. Uniqlo is a clear favorite for me. Compared to other fast fashion brands, the minimalism and simplicity attracts me, and from their collaboration with artists to just their plain t-shirts. However, in further analyzing the brand, I've learned the implications of supporting them. While they have been making strides to be more environmentally conscious than other corporations, they still have an ongoing history in not being transparent with their labor conditions. Going forward, I will still buy from them, but be more conscious of where the item is coming from and how Uniqlo is making efforts to improve their ethics. As you can see here are some of the collaborations they've done with different artists, as well as some of their high-quality blanks that I continue to consume. Focusing in on a couple of garments, I would like to highlight this pair of Guess denim. Originally thrifted 4 years ago, I wore it until they had holes all over. From there, this past summer, me and my mom worked to patch them up instead of just giving them away, and embroidered flowers all over where they were falling apart, now giving them more value as a truly unique garment of mine. I believe this is reflective of the recent emphasis on slow fashion within a fashion space, focusing consumption on understanding the supply chain of manufacturing and incorporating the consumer more into the production process and understanding of how the system of manufacturing works. For me, because becoming more in touch with the garments that I owned by altering them helped me decrease my overconsumption and focus more on what I can do with what I already have. I believe that moving forward, continuing to focus more on slow fashion as a whole can help expose consumers to their own habits, as well as understanding the process of making clothes better, and thus shift consumption away from fast fashion and returning to reusing and recycling clothes to make unique garments. Another piece of data that I made sure to collect was the estimated amount of times I wore each item. To start, this pair of black jeans from Zara are by far my most worn piece of clothing, where I still wear them at least 2 to 3 times a week. On the other hand, this thrifted pair of Pokemon collaboration Levi's jeans is my least worn item, and the only item that I haven't worn once. Bought out of impulse, this made me realize that I need to focus more on the long-term use of buying goods even when thrifting. Overall, Only 8.2% of my closet has been worn less than 10 times, with the majority of these items being purchased within the last 2 months. Therefore, apart from the way that you buy items, whether you're thrifting them, buying them secondhand, or even at a fast fashion retailer space, this project made me realize that above everything, the key factor that can contribute to waste and unhealthy consumer habits is how you wear and treat the clothes after buying. It is typical for fast fashion houses to be the main contributor of overconsumption and underusage, but as seen in these two cases, I can easily buy a thrifted piece spontaneously and never wear it, and on the other hand, buy a piece from a fast fashion house and wear it multiple times a week. Thus, when considering your own closet and your own consumer habits, it's important to also acknowledge how and when you wear these pieces, and not only where you bought them, because that doesn't tell all of the story. As I was analyzing the tags for my different garments, it was very interesting to see the vast myriad of places in which my clothes have been manufactured. The most common being China at 24.5%, Mexico, Honduras, and Bangladesh at 11.3% each, and the USA at 9.4%. Unfortunately, including the United States, these are all countries whose cheap manufacturing labor has been utilized to reduce costs for conglomerate corporations through the use of sweatshops. However, this made me realize, too, how hard it is to track manufacturing past the location that it was made. However, there are two garments that stood out to me in terms of manufacturing. One being a Pangea hoodie that I thrifted, where I found that the brand uses all organic or recycled cotton and have a business model very centered around sustainability and transparent manufacturing and sourcing. On the other hand, my Dash Hemp Santa Cruz 100% hemp pants that I bought in New Mexico, through analyzing, made me appreciate them much more, having a tag that not just says made in China, but says made responsibly in China. And while obviously I can't look too deep into how true that is, the intentionality behind putting made responsibly in China shows me that the brand cares about the manufacturing process as well as where and how they source their product. In considering manufacturing, I would like to tie this all into Min T. Pham's writing on the fashion industry, where she states, "Sweatshop abolitions cannot be achieved through an individualistic analysis or an individualistic response. Abolishing sweatshops requires building solidarity across the various units of the supply chain, across geopolitical and hemispheric divisions, across race, gender, and class differences." Pham's quote emphasizes how, while individual changes to consumer habits like reducing purchasing from fast fashion corporations and overall reducing consumption is good, to make serious change to a very exploitative and manufacturing system, we need to collectively pressure corporations into changing habits. I believe that the way that this can happen is through a stronger shift towards slow fashion and conscious consumption, tying the consumer closer to the process of making clothes while inherently shifting priorities towards more unique and less amount of clothing bought and consumed. In the end, analyzing my wardrobe helped me understand a lot more about where my clothes come from and what habits I have or may have developed, as well as the ways in which I contribute to the system of fashion. Overall, I want to monitor my overconsumption and impulsive spending and continue to focus more on secondhand goods and learning how to alter my own clothes to make the most out of what I already have.